was trying to feed me rats, like in Kathy's zoo or something.
Hello, everyone. So today I have to let everyone know because many people are very concerned. They say, hey, you live in Asia, you live in China, so you must have the sickness. And I do. Yeah, I contracted it, and it's worse than I ever could have imagined. And it turns out I've had it for like a month. It's the Zhu Flu. It's where you just look directly into Kathy Zhu's Twitter and you just contract this awful virus where you just hate everything she says. And I decided this is the way I can cure myself of it. I'm just going to go through, I've collected all the ones that I hate the most, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about why these tweets are just so awful and why they make me hate my life. Yeah, and I think that's going to cure it. I think that's going to cure it because it's like exposure therapy. You have to just get it out of your system. And this is hashtag not bullying. This is respectful. We're just using Kathy Zhu as a case study for like a dozen things that I don't like. And this is hashtag discourse. This is discourse and free speech and not bullying. So there should be absolutely no problem with anything I'm going to say or present here.
Hey everyone, this is Kathy Zhu. Yeah, so it's weird because the subject, again, was called Are People Too Sensitive? And my episode didn't really talk about that. It was just him pushing on me, saying that you really shouldn't post your opinions on Twitter if you don't want backlash, or you really shouldn't post your opinions on Twitter because it's only 150 characters, even though that's not true. There's more characters now. So
the first thing that's important to know about Kathy Zhu is she's extremely sensitive. So the idea that they'd bring her onto a show to have her talk about how everybody is way too sensitive and way too triggered over everything is really funny. And it is a little bit funny that I guess the tables kind of got turned on her.
Yeah, he didn't really stick to the subject, even though his producers basically told him to. So I don't think he was purposely using me for an agenda. He did bring on the Muslim lady who tried to have a dialogue with me, which wasn't a dialogue at all. It was just her lecturing me and her trying to be fake and act nice. I think that he knew that he had to please his fans and his liberal friends in Hollywood.
I actually don't disagree with anything she said in that clip. But let's take a look at the actual Dr. Phil show with that Muslim lady, because it's worth taking a peek at. But I guess before I get too far into that, just to catch up anybody who has no idea who Kathy Zhu is, she was a beauty pageant contestant in Michigan, and she had her position, or she was taken out of the pageant or whatever because they didn't like what she posted online, which I think mostly had to do with her just stating she was a conservative, but it eventually became about a series of particular tweets that she had, and everybody said they were very racist and very insensitive, which, you know, for a pageantry, they have standards like that, so like I don't think it's that unrealistic. Now, it'd be one thing if she was like a big free speech champion, you know, really, really anti-cancel culture, really for making people not sensitive. But no, she's a vehement anti-racist. She's constantly griping about how all the conservatives are way too racist and how she doesn't like it. And it's a little bit hypocritical because on the one hand, she's promoting the cancel culture. She's promoting these ludicrous standards for anti-racism. And then she complains when it comes around to bite her in the ass. But let's go ahead and see how the Muslim woman treated her on Dr. Phil, because it is quite fascinating.
Raida Hamida, the founder of hashtag Taco Trucks at Every Mosque.
So what I think is really important to shed light on is that earlier she mentioned that she would totally be open to dialogue.
You can already tell by that inflection that this is going to be some very, very typical female shaming tactics and abuse. And this woman maybe isn't even aware that she's doing it. It's just her natural state of being to be abusive. And this sets the tone for this entire, what you would generously call an exchange.
So do you have any friends that are Muslims?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I would like to share with you an opportunity to be my friend.
Yeah, of
because
course.
I just think that it's really important when
Who talks like that? I would like to share an opportunity to be my friend. So I'm giving you this opportunity and I'm generously sharing it with you. And to you, it's an opportunity. To me, that just seems, I might be reading too much into that, but that rubs me the wrong way. This entire setup is, I think, just poisoning the well from the get-go, and of course painted as, oh, we're celebrating friendship and open dialogue. Yeah, the fuck you are. This is some bullshit. And this was Kathy's first mistake, I think, in this exchange. She should have said, I don't know you. Like, why would we be friends? I don't even know you. What does friendship even mean to you? You're just going to use it as a gimmick on a fucking Dr. Phil stage.
But I wanted to let you know also, I chose to wear hijab. And the vast majority of women in this country that wear hijab actually choose to wear hijab.
In this country.
Yes.
We can tell she's not forced to wear it because if there was a husband who was forcing her to wear it and she wore it like that, he would beat the shit out of her. So, of course, we know that just by looking at it. Like, this is obvious, like, Western white woman style hijabi where it's just a fashion statement.
You're Asian, right?
Yes.
Do you know the vast majority of Muslims around the world are Asian?
Mm-hmm.
And now there's just this racist presumption that, you can appeal to that racial in-group preference by saying, your other Asian friends are eating with chopsticks and also wearing their hijabs, and that could be you. That could be you, Kathy Zhu.
Okay.
So we're everyday people. Mm-hmm. We're just like you. I happen to wear the same color shoes that you are wearing. We're more alike than you probably think.
And those shoes don't go with that outfit. Hashtag Kathy wore it better. You deliberately chose those shoes, I think, to try to make this stupid gimmicky point. And this is the tone of the entire thing. It's so condescending. And I actually do feel bad for Kathy here. I think I'm starting to cure my Zhu Flu because she's just sitting there. She's getting in her little jabs. At one point, she's like, yeah, in Saudi Arabia, yeah, they have Sharia law. Yeah, you're talking about in America. Like she'll in one or two words really get in the point to try to frame the conversation to make her perspective make sense. But the moment Kathy Zhu tries to actually speak up, this is what happens.
And you're saying that, excuse me, let me finish.
You talk the whole time.
When you say that that the purpose of wearing the hijab for this Wear Hijab Day or, World Hijab Day is almost to be oppressed under Islam, like that's oppressive to me for you to say that.
Criticism is oppression.
I actually was born in this country. Were you born in this country?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
Notice how she made her point and now she's actually changed the subject without letting Kathy speak. Because that's the real reason that she's decided to be a Muslim, is because it just lets her be an absolute inconsiderate, kind of racist douchebag. So I actually feel bad for Kathy in this clip. I felt like she kind of did the best she could with the circumstances, but it's quite sad. It's actually quite hard to watch. You notice that Kathy, the entire time, she's kind of bobbing her head up and down, just waiting to get a word in. You can tell she's very nervous. She's like about to cry all the time. So poor Kathy. But as we're going to see later, you're kind of getting what you signed up for because you defend this bullshit. And I wonder if maybe this experience, if she really learns from it, she's going to realize that, this SJW, anti-racist, anti-discrimination standpoint is unsustainable.
I wear hijab, right? And I'm practicing my First Amendment right. I was born in Burbank. I'm a California girl, right? And
oh, wow, a California girl is narcissistic and cancerous and fucking toxic as hell. Color me shocked. And look at this white bitch in the crowd, her shit-eating grin. That's so funny. Go California girls. California girls rise up. That is so tacos for mosques, Katy Perry, pumpkin spice, everything. Just Pisces, everything. So good.
I mean, I guess your point of, did you know the majority of black deaths are caused by other blacks? What's your point?
That's statistics. You can find that on FBI's website. This is all backed up by statistics and facts. I think it's really, really awful how the left thinks that statistics and facts are racist. So I don't think anything I said was remotely wrong. I stand by every tweet that I post.
You can tell Kathy is so nervous, and it's it's such an easy point to defend. You know, Black Lives Matter, their entire narrative is that this is a racial systemic problem caused by white racism, that it's depicted as white on black violence, which is why you mentioned that statistic.
And do you know who causes the majority of white deaths?
Yeah, this is, apparently this is white people cause white deaths. It's not even that's the issue. The issue is that people didn't know that I was responding to another person calling cops bad people.
Right. I guess my point is, why would you focus on blacks causing black deaths when the majority of white deaths are caused by white people?
She just told you, bitch. She just told you. She literally just told you.
And, this is more of a bigger problem than just, a tweet. I think this is a bigger problem of, pageants censoring young women's voices.
Do you think if you had different viewpoints that you would be in trouble now? Because I know in reading some of the pageant's rules, they say there shouldn't be a political platform, and they expect people to be of good character. They were worried about your tweets being insensitive or inappropriate.
If I wanted to be cookie cutter perfect, I would have, just been on the pageant and probably have, won. But the thing is, though, I have real opinions. I'm a real woman. I experience real things and real emotions, and I do have a voice of my own.
I actually thought this Fox segment was pretty good, at least in terms of covering the whole beauty pageant drama. I think that you'll notice that the woman on the Fox News is actually able to articulate some of the points and kind of make sense of the issue a little bit. My gripe here is Kathy making this about, we need to be empowering young women's voices, and if the pageantry controls what you say and how you're supposed to act, then you're shutting down women's voices. Women should just be allowed to do and say whatever they want all the time. It's kind of the vibe I get. Later they talk about how, she did turn in all of her social media before entering, and they should have vetted her better, and I think that's a fair enough point. But again, she stands by her tweets, and she's a free thinker and thinks on her own. So let's go ahead and take a look at those now. She retweeted this stupid article about how coronavirus season means there's racism and lots of it. This is one of her reoccurring themes. She is very, very concerned about East Asian children being bullied over coronavirus. She thinks the Republicans, whatever that means, are losing, whatever that means, by not focusing on racism enough, whatever that means. I'm gonna keep tweeting about racism in the conservative movement until you guys stop defending racists. Saying, well, they're not real conservatives just proves you have cognitive dissonance. You guys blame liberals for everything but never say, well, they're not real liberals. Which that's also weird because I guess libertarian people and free market conservatives constantly say that liberals aren't real liberals. I don't, what? It sucks that you can't vote one party just for economic reasons and another party just for social reasons. That's literally the point of libertarianism. That's the double-stuffed Oreo of American politics. You get to have your freedom both ways. And the Republicans aren't even worse on all of the social issues anyway. So, what? What? I'm politically homeless. Too left for the right and too right for the left. The people who get offended that I defend myself against racist conservatives are the same people that complain about liberals being racist against whites. Different sides of the same coin. That's right, checkmate, Nazis. I'm about to form a third political party, the Jew Party. Low taxes, pro-2A, anti-racism, pro-LGBT, pro-legal immigration, pro-music arts in schools, pro-vaccinations for kids, pro-voter ID, pro-basic knowledge test for voting, anti-socialism/communism. That's basically the Republican platform. Granted, they don't achieve those things. They don't achieve low taxes. They're not very good at defending the Second Amendment. Pro-music/arts in schools. Yeah, I mean, there is school cronyism. That's a thing in both parties. That's not non-unique. Vaccinations, that's not even really on the table. That's barely even a political issue. That's more of a cultural divide where the anti-vaxxers are losing. Pro-voter ID. No, I think the Republicans are okay with that. basic knowledge test for voting. I think that's the only actual real hot take here. And on the last point, you know, if you're going to have anti-socialism, anti-communism, I mean, basically everything else you've listed is some form of socialism or communism. If you don't want socialism or communism, then we need to get rid of things like suffrage and have no taxes. And you wouldn't even need a Second Amendment because it would just be implied that you have that right because we have a negative rights approach as opposed to a bullshit positive rights approach. So like that doesn't even mean anything. It's just stupid. But this one I think is my least favorite by far, and this is how I will conclude the video. She says, Asians never existed when it came to diversity. And it's a picture of a bunch of models, and some of them are Asian, but they're not Chinese. Okay, they're not light-skinned Chinese Asian women. So that's not enough diversity for her. And this whole thread is just a spectacle, going on to complain about all of these hypocritical white people, pointing out that there's no white people in the photo. And when somebody also points out, you know, there are Asians, she says, I want Asians that look like me in there. Which, it's another issue that I have with people who complain about beauty representation in media. I mean, Kathy she's pretty, right? She was a pageantry competitor. So, like, what the fuck is having Asian models in representation gonna do for you? Like, if you don't feel pretty, how is that supposed to help? And do you think that it's like going to be a social conditioning thing that's going to convince more people to think that more Asians are pretty? I think that Asians, especially Asian women, are actually privileged in that sense. They're generally considered more beautiful on average. So I don't get it. What's the point here? So she does endorse this whole practice of just tokenism. And it's stupid, and I hate it. But now I feel better. I think I've cured my Zhu Flu.